Hi, I'm Dr. Mary Pat O'Malley. I'm a lecturer in speech and language therapy with over 23 years experience of working with families. I'm also the creator of talknua.com, where you'll find simple but powerful ways for building all of your child's languages while still having fun. In this video, I'm going to talk about something that may be a cause for concern or a source of irritation for you if you are raising multilingual children. And that is when your child mixes the languages. Now, the technical term for this is code switching or code mixing, and the easiest thing to do really is to give you an example first of all of like what it looks like. So my little girl is being educated through Irish, so English is her first language, and there are loads of these mixing examples in her homework at the moment. I'm having a field day. So one example is she was asked to put the word of, which is the Irish word for egg, into a sentence, and here's her sentence. So she said, Ní ma lum ovs. Now the Irish, or the plural for of, is ivica. So what she did is she used the correct Irish grammar for the sentence structure. So the verb comes first, for example, and then she used the English plural ending to add the S at the end of ovs instead of ivica. So what's really cool about the code mixing and code switching is that it isn't random, it's rule governed, and generally the mixes, like that example, follow the grammatical rules for both of the languages. It's also showing you that the languages are kept separate, but they're interdependent, so they do interact with each other. And the good news about code switching and code mixing is that it is not a sign of delay or disorder or confusion in your child, and it doesn't cause delay or disorder either. They're not confused because basically, if you think about it, you can only mix things that are separate to begin with. So it's showing you that the languages are separate and interdependent. And it's also showing you that they actually have a deep knowledge of the languages in order to be able to construct a sentence or an utterance that actually obeys the grammatical rules of both languages. There's also research to show, for example, that bilingual children who have a language disorder, they don't code switch any more than bilingual children who don't have a language disorder. So that's the good news. More good news is that fluent bilingual adults and multilingual adults code switch as a matter of course. So it can happen within a sentence, like the example with the egg, or it can occur where you have a range of, you talk for a bit and then switch into the other language. So part of the child's journey of becoming a multilingual person is to learn the social rules of when it's okay to mix or switch and when it's not. And the research shows that basically children learn these rules very well and quite quickly. So they know, for example, in school that it's okay to code switch or mix when they're talking to their bilingual peers, but it's not okay to do that when they're talking to the teacher about something more formal, like a science experiment or something. In relation to adults then, it tends to happen in informal situations, casual conversation as well. And it's a marker of identity. Like, that's another reason why people code mix and code switch, is to show that I'm bilingual or I'm multilingual. It can be to describe an experience that was multilingual in nature. It can be to add emphasis. It can be because one language, like languages are like people, they have different personalities, and there mightn't be the exact word you're looking for to convey the essence of your experience in one language over another. So that's the good news about it. It's not something to worry about. What can you do about it? Let's say if it does bother you. I'm a fan really of natural kind of communication strategies, and I think it is worth considering that the fact that code mixing and code switching is actually a sophisticated communication tool available to multilingual speakers, and that it shows actually that your child is driven to communicate. So they may fill in the gap in one language by using a word from the other language in order to get their message across. They've also been found to code mix to the degree to which they're hearing it around them. So one thing you can do is pay attention to your own code switching, and if you want, and reduce it then if you want to, but you don't have to. For example, I read a recent article researching 18-month-old and 2-month-old French and English speaking children in Canada, where it shows that when the parents code mixed a lot, yes, it did lead to a slightly smaller receptive or understanding of vocabulary at 15 months and a marginally smaller expressive vocabulary or word naming ability at age 2. But the authors concluded that actually what was more important in the long run was that the children learned the social rules of code switching and code mixing. So you can, excuse me, you can choose to ignore it. You can choose to reduce your own code mixing if you want to. And if you want to reduce your own code mixing, there are 2 naturally occurring activities in which we tend to use one language at a time. And they are reading together and singing together, because those activities are naturally monolingual. So that's it about the code switching and the code mixing. It's a totally normal phenomenon for multilingual people, and multilingual children need to learn the rules of when it's okay to do it and when it's not, and they're totally able to do that. So I hope you like this video, and if you found it useful, I'd be delighted if you passed it on to your friends. And if you haven't already, please like the Talk Nua Facebook page and sign up for updates I post every 2 weeks on the website. That's talknua.com. Let's get talking.